I pushed the first domino. Introduction. I need to start off by explaining something to you about why this book is so important to me to share with you, myself, and others. I'm not in any way perfect. I'm so far from it. You don't know that, so I'm telling you that. I struggle every day like we all do. We don't live in a perfect environment because of something. Only our Creator knows why this is the case, so you can ask Him. Some people use a phrase about hell on earth. Maybe that sums up, in many respects, what living here can sometimes feel like. Did we do something that put us here? Or did our Creator just want us to appreciate the ups and downs better by not living in a perfect world? So, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect, and this environment we live in, it's not perfect. Someday, maybe we'll get the answers, but for now, we just have to accept this place that we live in, that we were put in. If you want to be a better helper, the time must come when you know who you really are, not what you've told yourself up to now. We don't always see the big picture. We don't always have a complete idea about our true identities because maybe we just want to edit ourselves either to conform to what others want to see us, or maybe it just makes us feel better about ourselves. I'm just a normal person like you that has a set of strange experiences to share with you. I'm not a fancy person. I'm not a rich person. I am who I am. I'm the what you see is what you get guy. I don't lie. I'm blunt. I'm bold. I'm sometimes not considered sensitive to others. Sometimes I'm not considered sensitive to myself. I would love to tell you that this book or my story that it will give you all the answers you need in this life. It does not. I would love to tell you that I finally have it all figured out. I don't. I'm just a human being. Whomever is reading this or hearing this, well, you're more like a human as well. I hope that's true. This book is a collection of what I have learned in this process of living each day. Nothing more, nothing less. I hope I'm explaining myself well. After my 2016 NDE or near-death experience, I spent better than 6 months afraid to tell anyone about what I had experienced at the crash site. I was still trying to process what had happened to me there, all the while trying to deal with an injured brain that was essentially rebooting, kind of like a computer with tons of corrupt cache files. I knew something weird had happened, but the domino effect of it all was devastating for me. My crash came at a time that was changing so much of who I thought I was and had been for so many years. My fairly successful career of 26 years working for a family-owned car dealership was gone as a result of my new disability. My long-term relationship and marriage with a woman from 1989 to 2016 had disintegrated in the months before the wreck. My daughter, for her reasons, disowned me. My life was in shambles. I had important people in my life who didn't want me to go to Mississippi for rehab, but rather let them heal me and please stay in Idaho. So by me not giving them what they wanted, they essentially disowned me as non-appreciative. I was appreciative, but I needed to take a different or better approach than what they thought I should do. Be strong, it will be okay, they said. But they should have added, as long as you do it my way, it'll be okay. I was no longer sure of anything. My sanity was in question, not just among others, but my own assessment of myself. Feeling as if you've lost your mind is not an easy thing to deal with. The worst of it is knowing that you can't really share with those around you what you're dealing with, let alone prove the experience to those that care about you. You have to understand, I'm a very logical guy. I'm a skeptical guy. I like to figure things out. I was then. Well, I guess I still am now. I took some comfort in knowing that just because you can't see love under a microscope, that doesn't mean it's not real and it doesn't exist. You have to have a little bit of faith. We can't explain it, but it's right there. Love. It's just, we don't have tools to see it. In my life, we must rely on our senses to help us know that something is going on and learn how we can deal with it. Touch, sight, hearing, smell, taste, those are our five senses. Just because something happens and you didn't have one of those senses telling you that something happened doesn't mean it's not happening. I'm not the kind of guy who just takes things as they come. I always want to know the whys and hows of everything in my life. This compounded my recovery. So I wanted to blame my brain for making it up. That was logical at the time, or so I thought. So naturally, in the beginning, I was just struggling with some major adjustments or curveballs thrown my way. Before I could adapt to the NDE and the changes it was making on me, I would need to accept that it was a real experience. Meanwhile, when you doubt your own ability to distinguish the real from the imaginary, it's more than a struggle. It's a special kind of hell, and I was drowning in it. But, in time, after many months of sheltering at my mother's home in Mississippi, I began to see the light, as they like to say. This understanding of what was going on only really came as the storm calmed. The unconditional love of the people near me gave me strength, if not answers, and I eventually found the courage to seek the answers myself. I must thank many of the YouTube creators for making videos that showed me I wasn't the only one and I wasn't totally nuts. It was nice to know that other people throughout the world have had similar experiences. And it was this knowledge that motivated me to begin to understand the pieces of the chessboard in front of me. I began to think of this as God's chessboard. I didn't control the game, it was just a piece on the board. When the unexplainable premonitions, as some people call them, started happening, I had to accept that my rooftop antenna had somehow become amplified. I had them once in a while before the crash, like many of us do. We call them different things. Somehow, the deadly blows to my head during the accident, and this is just a theory, somehow those blows to my head heightened my ability to see the world differently. Part of the purpose of this book is to explain that we all have these gifts. We call them many different things. Terminology it's kind of funny. You call it this, I call it that, tomato, tomato, just like the same thing. We just say it in different ways. For my part in the early months, I just had to accept that something very big and totally unexpected was going on. Trying to explain it would really make me go nuts. At this point in my life, I had a new rock, or someone to be my helper. Jamie and I had met prior to the wreck. I was still trying to recover from what was a fatally broken marriage. I'd been playing the field and meeting different women when I met Jamie. She's awesome. And being honest with her at the time, she knew that I was checking out this new single life. Jamie was different in many ways than the other chickies I had met. Yeah, sometimes I say chickies, don't get mad. Don't be oversensitive, people. Compared to the other women, Jamie stood by me through the crash, the coma, the many weeks of intensive care in Boise, Idaho, and then the many months of rehabilitation that followed in a different state, actually in Mississippi. Jamie had only known me for a few months when she uprooted her life, and she left Boise and went to Mississippi with me for nearly a year. 15 months after the crash, we came back to Idaho from Mississippi. She became my anchor then and is to this very day. Without her being there for me, I might have drifted away into the forever darkness of confusion and despair. I'm pretty sure I probably would have. Recently, Jamie said to me, "You're trying to figure yourself out. I get that because I don't know exactly who I am yet either. It's nice when those around us can relate to what we're going through. It's not necessary, but it is nice. I said to her, just when I think I've got this all figured out, I learned something new. It's like getting kicked in the balls, honey. Why won't Father, that's what I call God sometimes, I call him Father. Why won't Father give us days with no more surprises? Sometimes I just don't know how to feel. I've always had alternative and backup plans on the ready, but these days I don't know what to do. I wept with the feeling of total defeat as the words slowly came out. I was feeling totally out of control. Not a good thing for me, the control freak or manager of my life. The wreck affected me in several ways. I was damaged mentally and physically. Basically, the left front of my lobe of my brain was damaged, affecting my short term memory. Not my long term memory, but my short term memory. My long term memory from 40 plus years ago is still there. However, my short term memory is the major casualty in the story. To explain it better, 10 minutes ago feels like 10 hours ago. 10 days ago feels like 3 months ago, etc., etc. I broke my neck, the C2, or what's often referred to as the hangman's break. FYI, the hangman's break kills 99% of the people instantly. But I got lucky that day because maybe, as they like to say, it wasn't your time to go. And by the way, who is they? Why do we even listen to them anyway? So I spent 10 days in a coma and about 45 days at the hospital in Boise, Idaho. I can go on about the other physical damages or challenges, but they aren't as important for you to understand as what I just mentioned. I just gave you the basics. You, the listener, and myself were selected for the job of helping ourselves and others. Sometimes it's helping ourselves, sometimes it's helping others, but it's always both. Back in the days when I was hiring Toyota technicians, I did not pick the technician for his or her backgammon skills. I chose them because they had a skill or talent that set them apart that I noticed and recognized. Sometimes they came to me looking for a job, sometimes I sought them out for a particular reason to fill a place. I always considered their talent to be an important component in the service department I was building. With them, I was looking for the big picture. Bottom line, you find them and you use their skills to move the project forward. Not to mention, I have to live with them for so many countless hours a day, so I wanted to like who I was stuck with all day. Make sense so far? Please don't answer, because I don't know if you noticed, but I can't fucking hear you. I know who I am now. I'm a little bit better every day than I was the day before. Sometimes I want to hide from the world because there are so many in this world that can be mean and judgmental. They can help you feel like shit about yourself. I don't usually need any help in that department, so thank you for your effort. I'm better at that than you are. We must remember that you are the master of your own destiny. Other people can help and support you so you feel the way you want to go through moving forward on your journey. Be careful who you allow to add input where your self-worth is concerned. Only you get to decide if today you want to be happy or sad, if you want to doggy paddle or do a full swim, if you want to go left, go right, but you are in charge of the direction. You are the master of your own destiny, and you use your God's given free will to arrive or not arrive at the best possible destination. This book concept is not for all the reasons that you might imagine it is. It's definitely a chance for me to share the messages I get about me, some of the messages about you, or others, so we can all better understand this game, and I hope it works. In each chapter, I will attempt to give you information about something I have either experienced or something I've been shown. You will better understand who I am, how I got here, what God, spirits, angels, whatever you want to call them, tell me to learn and share with others. Some of the concepts are not easy to understand, but that's because I still have some ginormous limitations in how to explain this thingy, as I call it, I'm learning about. I can't always know the words to type or maybe how to say it, record it, to explain how this all came to be for me. But I will try. Again, we are all similar yet different. And I just want to give you something for your open mind to ponder. You will have to apply these lessons shown to me, then apply them to you in some way, shape, or form. This book is many lessons that will help you know how to use your God given free will and love to make baby steps that are going to allow you to move forward.